YouTube faithful, what's going on? We made it through Taco Tuesday. LeBron sold his taco. I'm going to show you guys my near misses. It was heartbreak. I just can't seem to skate around 5 of 6, 3 of 4, and 4 of 5. I don't know what it is, but it's okay. It's a new day. As Big E and crew would say, it's a new day. Yes, it is, baby. So let's get started. First, if you're new to my channel, what I do is I break down the NBA, the NFL, MLB, all the sports you can think of. I teach you what to look for, go through the analysis, the process of it. I'm not so much interested in just spoon feeding you, here, take this, take that, and take the other, because if it chalks or even if it cashes, what have you gained from it besides maybe a day of wins? Yeah, that's great and all, but I would rather you guys get a process so you can start building things by yourselves and learning how to do this, because so many people love sports and they love to put their coin on it, but they have no idea what's going on or how hard it really is. So grab a snack, grab a Red Bull. I got one right here ready to go. Okay, I got it right here ready to go. This is probably going to be 25 minutes, maybe less, maybe more. I don't know. I'm not going to rush through it. I'm going to go through the projections, the fantasy scores. I'm going to do the Lord's work. And guess what? I'm doing it early. It's only noon my time, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Hopefully it's up by 2 o'clock Eastern. So if you wouldn't mind to help your boy out, smash that like button and hit the subscribe and leave me a comment. Let me know how you did yesterday. And for those of you in California affected by those fires, my God in heaven, hopefully everything works out for you guys. Everybody say a prayer for our homies in California, because that's crazy. So tonight we have a unique situation with Cleveland Cavaliers versus my Oklahoma City Thunder. What's going to happen? Who's going to win? Both teams are on a streak. History in the making. It's the game of the century part 2, but for NBA. Is it? Or is it going to be a freaking stinker? Okay, both teams play at a slow pace. Both teams are good defenders. I don't really think it's going to be this high scoring game or anything. That when I saw the point total, I was shocked. 230 points. But I will tell you this. The first square that I would talk about is going to be Mr. Alexander's Goblin. Okay, I know, Cap, the Gobby, really? But keep that in your thoughts, because we're going to come back to it. But before I do that, I do want to recap yesterday. It's good to do a recap, so let's get into it. All right, so the Dub Club plays yesterday / YouTube, whatever. Miles Bridges, 31.5 fantasy points was a cash. 7 rebounds was a push, okay? Kevin Durant, 35.5 PRA, 42 fantasy points, chalk fantasy points, but his PRA also chalked. He got 33.5. I will show you a slip that went 5 of 6, cost me over $700. It was heartbreak, whatever. Jaylen Brown, we got insane value on him and he didn't hit, but I said when he bumped to 33, let's wait and go back, and I was able to get on his RA at 9.5, which covered, but he chalked his PRA. PJ Washington, 7 rebounds, cashed. Unfortunately, his RA didn't cash, and Grimes 7 RA cashed. So Tyler Hero less 23.5 points, that cashed. Sexton over 17.5 points, cashed. Porzingis cashed in a quarter, and Jokic was a DNP. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 right. 1, 2, 3, 4 wrong. 7 and 4, but some of those are the same player, like Kevin Durant and PJ Washington, which makes them net neutral. So basically like 5 and 2. But I also gave you Kuzma less points. That was on the YouTube. I gave you Hunter down here, 14.5 points, Goblin. That was the optimal pair for the taco. Cash that. So these are the plays that I posted in my Dub Club. What I do is I do these YouTubes. Then I post a list on Dub Club, that comes out way before the YouTube, of plays. I post some slips under here, but I also give you guys a full projection sheet for all the fantasy scores for every player on the slate, okay? Right here, their usage rate, their fantasy points per minute, so you can calculate how many fantasy points you think they're going to get. And then I also do player projections for each and every player on the slate right here, and that is the process. We're going to go through that today. That's all in the Discord. In addition to that, I do live streams, and you can get access to all this. You go to CaptainCrush.net. The YouTube videos back-to-back have been bangers, guys. So if you're winning there, you're going to love the live streams. You're going to love the Discord. You want to go right here. It's 1 month, $24.99 for the month. This is how it's run. The Dub Club hosts it. You sign up for the gold package. You get access to the Discord. Then you get access to all of that stuff, including my Discord chat community, the live streams, everything else. Now, what makes my Discord separate from everyone else's, I'm not just giving you slips and disappearing. I'm fostering a community. Talk with everybody. We do the sweats together. I give you research tools. It's basically like an expanded Outlier or a props cash or something like that you're used to. I give you those projection sheets that work in tandem with those type of apps to help you guys do deep dives on the players and help you get better and understand the sport better. The more you understand this sport and why the things happen the way they do, the more you will have success in this hobby that we love. I'm telling you right now, brother, if you watch the game, or even if you just take the time to watch the highlights of the game, and then if you have the right tools to find out the data, you will be more profitable than when not. You guys that are just begging for slips, everyone markets what we do. Oh, just give me the slips, just give me this and that. You guys are never gonna win. I promise you, you're never gonna win. And if you think, oh, I just need to join the right Discord and I'm just gonna tell all their slips and I'm gonna be, no, you won't. That's not gonna happen, because I'm always gonna have an advantage over you because I'm the guy creating the slips. So if I see it and then things bump, what happens to you? You need to know what to look for and when to look for it, just like I do. So my job is to teach you what I know so you can duplicate what I do, just like any teacher would. If you're learning golf, you need to learn how to swing the club. You're never going to be able to swing it as good as Tiger Woods, but you want to try to replicate what he does, okay? It's similar concept here, guys. So if you want a good community, all right, we have a good time. I'm telling you right now, I got role members in there that dropped their slips. Shout out to, who was it yesterday? Greg, Iceberg, a couple other, Faceless. He's been posting, those guys. They're newer role members. They've been earning their stripes. They've been posting slips for everybody to tail. They post them up there. Make sure you check that tab. And somebody was asking, how do I get a role in the Discord? You make my life easier. You add value to the community and I will recognize you. It's that simple. You give me a headache in my community and I'm going to make sure that you get nothing and you're on your way out of the Discord, okay? That's how it is. Just like in anything in life. You want respect, give respect, make my life easier, help me out, and I will be the first to recognize you and exalt you in front of everybody else, okay? That is the God's honest truth. I promise you. So shout out to those boys and everyone else. Spartan, I'm sure there's a Houston. There's plenty others that post stuff that I'm forgetting. These are just the guys off the top of my head that I saw when I was scrolling through. So get in the mix, Papa. Get in the freaking mix. Now let's talk about today's slate. We got Alexander. Now why am I? Oh, Gabi. No, not a Gabi. Wrong. Agabi. Why? Because this is cinema. Look at the differential between his Gabi and his normal line. 32, that's 4.5. Okay, so let's just call it 27. That's 5 points. 8, because he's going to need to get 33. 8-point differential between Goblin and his normal line. Now, I personally think he can get 33 points tonight, but I know this line was at 31.5, so I really don't want to take it at 32 and give them the satisfaction. Now, here's something we need to consider. You're the Cleveland Cavaliers playing at home. What's your game plan tonight? Your game plan, if I'm the coach, I'm shutting Alexander down. He's going to have to facilitate. He's not going to drop 30 on me. If I'm the coach, that would be my game plan. But I don't know what they're going to do. Not only that, as Gilgeous says himself, I can get to the rim on anybody, and he can. And I don't care if Mobley's there. I don't care if Allen's there. I don't care. He's going to get to the rim. He's going to drive. He's matchup proof. But I think this is the optimal way. Now let's look into it. We're going to come back to Yodani. It wouldn't be a slate on a matchup like this without talking about some Yodani. So you Donnie truthers out there, it's your time to shine, because we're going to talk about him right when I get done with the man, the myth, the legend, Gilgeous, okay? Head-to-heads. They haven't played much, but in 2023, dropped 43, 34. The man cooks. Point guards, points allowed, they're ranked 16th. If you look at Gilgeous's last 20, he's hit 11 of 20. Last 10, he's hit 7 of 10. The man respects coins. Slip screen always. Don't care about that cup game. It was a fluke. The lights were a little bit too bright. He had a bad game. It is what it is. The NBA wanted Giannis to win that anyways, okay? Let's be real. Let's call a spade a spade. Now let's go over here and take this down to 26.5, and he's 8 of 10. Last 20, 16 of 20. Head-to-heads, he blows it out of the gym. All of 2024, he's hit this in 75% of times. 27 of 36. 2023, 74%. Like Alexander says himself, he's consistent. His entire life is consistent. He's exceeded 29.5 points in 9 of his last 11 games on the road. If you could get Gilgeous at 29.5, my brothers and sisters in Christ, you fire it up, and if he sells, you sells. Just like yesterday when I told you guys, the Hunter Gabi at 14.5 or 13.5 if you were lucky enough to get it there. Cash that, but chalk 19. Okay, sometimes the goblin is the square. I'm tired of you people thinking, oh, well, the goblin doesn't count. Wrong. It does count. They're not guaranteed to win. So when they do hit, it should be celebrated. Sexton's goblin, he didn't cash 23.5 points. He cashed 22.5, but he cashed his goblin. Same thing with LeBron at 17.5. Same thing with Hunter. You can't just ignore those squares because they're goblins. There's money to be made there. You get your double ups. That is where you can get your quote unquote nukes. You bet 100 to win 200, $100 day. Who cares? If you bet 10 on a 5-man to win 100, you have to go through 5 legs, or you can just bet 100, make the same dollar amount profit if you get 2 right, and that's that, okay? So miss me with the, oh, I don't like gobbies. So that's my thought on Alexander. You could go with his 32 points if you want to risk it and you think that he's just going to go yard, okay? His fantasy score, whenever it comes up, is possibly in play. Okay, it's at 52. Let's check the market data on that. That could be the move too. Let's see what it says. Now, his fantasy score is juiced under, but again, there's only one book, so it doesn't really count. But his points at 32, it's 32.5 on other books, so you know it's moving up. His PRA 43.5, that's good too. You know it's moving up. I like him tonight, man. It's another big game, which does scare me because he tends to not do well in these big games, but we're on a streak. We just beat Boston. I'm going with it, man. I got the hat on. I'm going with it. I'm watching this game live. I'm not going to be waiting for it. I'm going to watch it live. Normally, I go back and watch it so I can fast forward. Like last night, I did that with most of the games before I go to bed. But tonight, I'm watching it live, baby. So I'll get to sweat that live. I'll probably be on live stream with the boys watching my boy green my slip. God willing. Now, who do you want to run it back with from this game that should be the game of all games? It ain't going to be the game of all games, but it should be a good game. Now, you got options. You got, yo, Donnie. I die with you, Donnie. Donnie Mitchell. What are we doing with Donnie? Well, you could take Donnie's PRA. You could take his points. You could take his Gabby, 17.5. Or you could take his assist at 4.5. Look at the Donnie. Look at the Donnie. Donnie at 4.5 assists, man. He's usually 5. You guys know that, don't you? If they decide that, yo, Donnie ain't scoring, then maybe, just maybe, yo, Donnie's got to facilitate. Look at the market data. Minus 120. It's pretty much 50-50. But look at MGM has it at minus 160. That means, let me break this down because some of you guys have no clue. There's no shame in it. Captain Crush is here to educate. If you were to walk over to MGM, right, AKA you're in Las Vegas, you're on the strip, you hang a left turn, you go into that big green looking building, you walk in, you find the sports book, you say, hey, I want yo Donnie, 4.5 assists. They're going to say, all right, comment guy, give me $160. If he hits, I'll pay you 100, 260 back. You make $100 if you give me 160. That's cinema. That's juice. You're paying $60 in juice. Okay, so that means it's heavily favored to go over according to MGM. But other books like FanDuel, they say, hey, give me 115 and I'll pay you 100. So if you were ever going to take this line on a straight book, the last place you would take it would be MGM because they're literally taxing. However, I do like to see that their lines maker says you're going to have to pay a premium because it's a good play. Now let's go look at that. And you have other options too. You could take yo Garland. It doesn't have the same ring as yo Donnie, does it? Does it? Does it, comment guy? It doesn't because yo Donnie. Yo Donnie's just a cinematic. Donnie Mitchell. Yo Donnie Brasco. 4.5 assists. His range of outcomes is 3 to 5. We already know this. Look at the man's last 10. 7 of 10. Okay, versus shooting guards, they're third in assists allowed. You may say, Cap, it's a bad matchup. The Oklahoma Thunder are a bad matchup for every metric for every player. Trust me when I tell you. If I swap it over to points, check this out. It's even worse, Papa. They're ranked first in point guards to shooting guards and ranked 2 in point guards allowed. So it's bad matchup overall. But the head-to-heads, he's got 5 each time. That was a couple seasons ago. We don't really care about that. But 13 of his last 20, he's gotten 5 dimes. Okay? He's exceeded 4.5 assists in 11 of his last 14 games. He doesn't get a lot of minutes because they're just blowing people out of the gym. This shouldn't be a blowout. But the only downside is this, y'all. If Yo Donnie doesn't play a lot of minutes, if the game gets ugly on either side, chalk it. Also, if Yo Donnie decides to just score points, and then you can chalk it too, which it leads me to, you need to decide. You can go with Yo Donnie's assists, or you could take his points or his points, rebounds, assists, but look at his potentials. 8, 9, 4, 9, 10, 12, 14, 9, and 9. If he gets 10 potential assists, he should get 5, okay? That's why his range of outcomes is 3 to 5 on average. So hopefully he can get it. And then the other thing with his points, you could take his points at 22.5. Now, the other side is if you want to fade Donnie and go with Garland as a run back, everybody's going to be telling you to take Jared Allen and Mobley. If you want to take those guys, fine. I'm focused on showing you things that not everyone else is talking about. Okay, so Darius Garland, his assist has been a mini wagon for me. Head-to-heads, last time they played was 23. He got 9. If you look at the assist versus guards, again, it's a terrible matchup for everybody, but in the last 20, he's gotten 10 of 20. And then if we look at his potentials down here, he gets a lot of potentials, but almost the same as Donnie, 9 to 10. 9, 13, 20, 9, 12, 12, 9, 7. Him and Donnie get potential assists roughly around the same rate, but his RA at 9 is pretty good too, in my opinion. It's not as good, so you're going to have to make those decisions. Most likely, I'm probably going to go with Donnie's assist and then maybe even his fantasy score, or maybe just his points outright at 22.5. You can see here, his points at 22.5 is pretty much a 50-50. It's just like Devin Booker yesterday. Devin Booker soared over his points, but he also soared over his assists. Either one could be in play. And then look, if you look at Garland, 2.5 3-pointers made, 53%. That's probably going to get bumped or removed. His RA at 9 is 52%. His rebounds at 2.5. Points assist, his points at 18.5. All of it's in play. Those would be your primary run backs. Now, if I go to my projection sheet, you can see I have Donovan Mitchell projected for 24 points and 4.9 assists. Okay, that's a 2-point differential, and his assist is pretty much telling us 5. And then Garland's projected for 20 points, 2 rebounds, and 6.7 assists. So if we go by my projection model, we should be taking Donnie's assists or his points at 22.5. It's a 1.5-point differential, which is big. And then with Garland, he's pretty much at a 2-point differential as well on his points, 18.5. Both of these guys should want to turn up for this game. This is a big game, guys. This could be, call me crazy, but this could be a potential finals game. OKC in the West, Cleveland in the East. That would be the NBA's worst nightmare, but it could happen. Now, if you're new to the channel, you're like, man, this guy takes a lot of time worrying about guys. I've seen videos that are 40 minutes long of just nothing. I'm at least giving you guys both sides of the coin. Now, how do these guys both chalk? Okay, well, how do they chalk? How does Donovan chalk his points? He just decides to turn into a facilitating machine, and he doesn't shoot, or he misses his shots, and that would cash his assists most likely. And then same thing with Darius Garland. He just facilitates a lot and just doesn't shoot, or vice versa. Okay, that is how they wouldn't get there, a blowout or the OKC. But if you want a run back for Shai, which I think you should, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Shai, whatever you want to call him, I don't care. I think you have to consider it. Why would you just take Alexander without taking a Cav on the other side? A 1v1 skinny stack, in my opinion, for this game. It's a close spread, 2.5 points, 230 over under, which you can see here. I mean, that's optimal. A skinny stack or a 2v2, okay? A big stack, either or for a 4-man. It's up to you guys. And you can take alternate lines. You're not bound to just taking that. Now let's take a look at Donnie's fantasy point per minute. You can see he's averaging 31 minutes, 29% usage rate. That means every time he's on the court, 29% of the time the ball's in his hand. He's averaging 38 fantasy points per game and 1.23 fantasy points per minute. So if I go to the calculator, 1.29, let's say Donnie plays 34 minutes, he's going to round out 43 fantasy points, okay? Excuse me, I took the wrong number. 1.23 times 34 is 41. So that's what he would get. And his line is 34. So you could just take Donnie's fantasy score. You have options. And I provide these tools to you in the Dub Club /Discord, which is why I put it there. Because I like when you guys take the information, use the tools, make your reads. The last 5 Kings are hating life because they're like, oh, you didn't cover it. Dude, this is a big game, number 1. And number 2, all these were likely blowouts. Look at the lineup: Charlotte, Dallas, Lakers, Golden State. I'm not even going to waste time to go look, but I already know he played like 25 to 26 minutes last time. They're blowing teams out. They shouldn't blow out OKC. Hopefully, it's a 2.5-point spread, but we never know. So those are your 2 from that game. Those are the 4 players. That's the big game. I felt like I needed to take time and talk about it. Now, we want to find some other things. There's another game on here that I want to discuss, which is the Wizards and 76ers. Look at this, 221-point total, 10.5-point spread. I'm going to talk about someone from there. How about all you Alexander Sarr? Everyone in my Discord was telling Crush, oh, Cap, Sarr's hitting, Sarr's this, that. I told everyone under, he wasn't hitting. Then they ruled out Jordan Poole So I was like, oh, well, Sarr's going to have to hit now. Everyone already liked him, and now no Poole. And guess what? He had an absolute sell job, which is why I don't take players that, even though they've been good on the last 5, if they're not that good, I don't mess with them, bro. And I should have stuck with my gut. It is what it is. Kuzma under cash and Carrington's PRA cash, which is what I told you guys was optimal, but that's neither here nor there. I want to talk about someone from there, and I want to talk about someone on the Chicago Bulls Pacers side because it's worth talking about. And then if you look at the Pistons game, that's probably a full fade spot for me. If you want to take Cunningham, I know he's the only Piston, but I just don't want to deal with it. The Knicks, Toronto is never competitive. This game right here, Pelicans, Trailblazers, I think there should be things that we consider from there. Clippers, Nuggets, we need Joker news before we make any decisions. And then the Milwaukee Bucks game, well, Giannis and Wemby are your 2 hammers, late night hammers that you want to consider. Now let's talk about this Philly side real quick. There's one man that comes to mind. There's 2, but I'll save that one for the cord. But Yabusele, baby. Yabusele. Hey, it's me, Gershon. And he's coming for your coin because he's cashing everything, baby. The man cooks. Now he gets to play the Wizards. Fast pace up spot. No Embiid. No Paul George. No problem. Give me all the Yabusele a man can handle. I want it like air. It's Yabu. Give me some Yabu. Yeah, Yabadoo. I think of Yogi Bear. Yabba dabba doo. 33 games played, averaging 24 minutes, 16% usage rate, 20 fantasy points on average, 0.84 fantasy points per minute. Look at my projection. I got a 1.5 point differential. It's going in the mix. If he sells, he sells. Gershon, 14 points and 8 rebounds. Give it to me, baby. 14 plus 8, 22 plus 2 assists. That's 24. So you automatically know when I'm seeing this, I'm seeing green. His PRA at 22.5, that's going to get bumped. Yaboo! They already bumped it to 23.5. And guess what? I don't care. I still like it. Maybe I just take his points at 12.5. But I think his rebounds are hitting too. You got to have exposure to Yaboo today, man. If he sells you, that's just something you got to deal with. I'll probably take his points, but my God in heaven. How does Yaboo not cover? No Embiid, no Paul George. Let's take a little deep dive with Yaboo. Was it always Yaboo, chat? Yaboo's going to have the sell of the century, and everyone's going to be on me being like, Cap, yo, yabba daboo. Where's he at? New guy, comment guys, be like, man, this guy's annoying. You can't stand the way he talks. Brother, get some excitement in your life. Touch grass. Don't take things so seriously. Look at this matchup. You're not going to find a better matchup for Yaboo than this. Okay, overall, 30th, 27th. They're dead last. The only thing they're good on is assists versus centers. Points allowed 30th. Okay. Now looky. We're gonna take guys off the court. Now you could just fade this all, and you could go. Andre Drummond's a game time decision. Keep that in mind. You could go the conservative route and just hammer Maxey, Kelly Oubre, or something like that, and just fade Yaboo. But with those guys out, I think I gotta go with Yaboo. Now there's no data on Yaboo without those 3 guys, but there's data without Embiid and without Paul George, and take a look. 15.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 22.7 rebounds. That was against the Houston Rockets. That was against the Orlando Magic, okay? 24-24. Now he's playing, and that's his points, rebounds, assists. Now he's playing the Wizards, who aren't even a real NBA team, okay? They're not even a real team, guys. You know that. And he had 15 and 22 points. Now, I think you could take his points, rebounds, wait for it to bump back down, but I did want to give you guys some look at Yaboo. Now, like I said, you could go with Maxey. His lines are going to be sky high. His points assisted 38.5. You could go with his fantasy score, just his points at 30.5. His field goal attempts. Kelly Oubre's in the mix. You could go with Kelly Oubre. I really think that his points, rebounds, assists is optimal at 26.5. His points, rebounds at 24.5 are absolutely good too. I don't know why they're juiced under. They were juiced under last time too, but Kelly Oubre, when he wants to be, he's a beast. And he has a little extra incentive to play good this game. But you don't want heavy exposure to this game, guys. You don't want your night to depend on a game that has a 10-point spread. You just don't. Man, that Red Bull was hitting. It's crispy. I'd been avoiding them like the plague, and my lord, I missed you. Now, the big question mark on the slate is going to be Joker. We don't know if Joker's going to be in the mix or out of the mix, so that's something to consider. But I'm going to talk about 2 more guys that I want you to consider, and then make sure you're in the live stream today at 5 p.m. Central, the crunch time where all the closing lines have settled. We get to cover everything, and that is where you're going to want to be. So these next 3 that I'm going to give are like rapid fire, and that's going to be, well, I'm going to go into a deep dive on on one person from in the Pacers game, but real quick, I want to talk about this. Deni Avdija, he sold everybody last game versus Detroit, 14 points. Now he's playing the Pelicans. Good matchup. I think you could go back to his points, or I think you could go back to his points rebounds at 23.5. We can't hold that bad game against him. I think it's good. You know, you had Sharp and Simons go off, or you could just take one of those. I also think you could possibly go back to Henderson or Tumani Kamara. Any of those guys, the role players from that team, would be fine. Okay, Scoot Henderson only played like 19 minutes last game. It was a horrible game for him, but he's always in the mix. You can't hold one bad game against these guys. He had 1 fantasy point. You could go right back to his fantasy score at 24.5. It wouldn't be horrible. Again, these are darts, meaning you don't have heavy exposure to them, but it wouldn't be terrible if you did go back to him. Deni Avdija, Henderson, or even Kamara, but I don't know what to do with Kamara because his points are super high. Does he have a block and steal prop up? Let's see. Nope, he doesn't. He doesn't have a block and steal prop or a fantasy score, which is interesting. So I don't know if I'm going to take Tumani today, but I will have shares of Henderson and Deni Avdija, like I just said. Now, real quick, before I talk about Tyrese Haliburton, I did want to mention Daddy Zubac, baby, Zubac, as they call him. 12.5 rebounds. Seems crazy, right? Minus 112. It's pretty much 50-50. His RA at 15, his points rebounds at 26.5 would be the optimal line if you're looking at market data. But let's look at him right quick. He's just been a freaking wagon, and I had to talk about him. I had to discuss him. I had to give the devil his due because he's absolutely been cinema. Look at the rebounds allowed. They're ranked 30th. That's dead last. You're not going to find a better matchup. And if you look at the head-to-heads, he got 13 last time he played, 8, 15, 15. We know they give up a lot of rebounds. Jokic may not play, which would be absolutely amazing for him. But at the same time, Kawhi Leonard's going to be floating around, and I know he can grab some rebounds, but I ain't too worried about him. He's not playing big minutes. But his RA also has to be considered. Assists allowed 24th, rebounds allowed 30th at 15. And then his points rebounds, where is it at? His points rebound. I know this video is long, chat. I'm sorry. Points rebounds 26.5. 13 of 20. You want to talk about wagons, guys. You ain't going to find a bigger wagon now. Let's look at the projections. He's projected for 14 points and 13 rebounds. So 27 total, 13 rebounds. So therefore, you could take over 12.5 straight up. Okay, 12.5 rebounds. Where are you at, Chief? Right there. Or you could take his 26.5 points rebounds right there. Or you could even take his fantasy score. And what I'm going to do for you guys is calculate his fantasy score. And then I'm going to talk about Haliburton. And then we're getting out of here. Sorry for the long video. But again, I'm actually not sorry because I'm doing the Lord's work. If you guys want to repay your boy for the Lord's work, smash that like button like mama taught you. Right, baby. Smash it. 35 games, 32 minutes on average for Daddy Zubac. 19% usage rate, which is kind of high for a traditional center. 37 fantasy points on average, 1.15. So we're going to take 32 times 1.15 in our handy dandy calculator. 1.12 times 32.5 and bangarang, you get 36. But again, that's his average. That's not accounting for when they blew out. So if he does play a couple more minutes, he could cover that fantasy score. You know what I'm saying? But I do think Zubac has to be considered because the matchup and the projections are just cinema. And then if you look at the market data, it's 27.5 on FanDuel. I mean, it's checking 3 out of the 4 boxes. I got to give it a shot. If he sells, he sells. You know what I mean? It ain't going to be an anchor. But guess what? Imagine this scenario. Let Cap quarterback this thing. Joker sits. All of a sudden, Daddy Zoo is in the mix. He's absolutely going to go yard. If Joker and Gordon are completely out, it's Zubac and you run it back with a Strother or a Westbrook on the other side, and you're in the mix. You could go with Powell, too, if you don't want to take the center route. You could go with one Norman Powell at 22 points. He's been a sell job extraordinaire, but he is projected for 23, so maybe you get that 1-point differential, and you call it crispy, and you go to the bank. Maybe he sells you, and he puts up 14 and says, chalk it all to the very depths of hell. Now, let's talk about Hallie. Remember, the priority here, guys, is the Cleveland game. Everything else is ancillary. And then also, I do have Giannis and Wemby props for the late night hammer. I have other props as well, but they're posted in the Dub Club. Make sure you get in there. It's Captain Crush Net Gold Package, 1 month, $24.99. You get the fantasy point per minute tool. You get the projection sheets, and you get my lineups, community, everything I got, and you get it for the cheap. I best see you there. And guys, when you do join, there's new members joining every day. Introduce yourself or something. Let me know. But hey, new member, what's good, crush? I'm a YouTube faithful convert. Don't be shy. Pun intended. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you're poverty. Now, I lost my train of thought. Oh, we're talking about Haliburton. Remember last 2 videos ago, we took his blocks and steals and it was crispy. I don't think they have his blocks and steals up here as of today. Let's see. Haliburton. It's going to be a demon. Nope. They don't have anything up here for his blocks and steals because they know it's hitting. But they do have a fantasy score, and this is the one that I wanted to look at. Now, anytime you take Haliburton, anything in life, it's going to be a sweat. But he's playing Chicago, high point total. I mean, you got to have some exposure here, in my opinion. If you look at guards, they're ranked 30th in assists allowed. If you look at his fantasy score, where is it at? Fantasy score prize pick. He's not covering a lot. 4 of 10, last 20, 11 of 20. Head-to-heads, is there anything there? He had 43 last time they played on December 6th. What else did he do? Let's take a look and see what else he did. And then we're going to do the calculations. That's what matters most. Okay. He had 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists last time they played on December 6th. But look at the matchup. 23rd, 22nd, 30th. It's a great matchup, y'all. It's just a matter of is he going to play minutes. If you don't want to play Haliburton, I don't blame you. I'm just covering this because look, he's showing up right there. Big league, 41, 56%, 43. Now I don't take the fantasy scores projections like that with a grain of salt, but it's still worth noting. I mean, there's other guys on that team, Siakam, Nembhard. I just don't like the rotations they're doing right now. 35 minutes on average, 21% usage rate, 39 fantasy points on average, 1.13. That's not really a good fantasy point per minute. You would think it would be higher, right? 1.13. I mean, what is that? 1.13 multiply it times 34, 38.42. So yeah, it's not really, the math ain't really mathin'. I'm just throwing it out there, letting you guys decide. I mean, if he does play like 38 minutes, he could soar over, but it is a good matchup. And then on the other side, well, real quick, you got Nembhard here sticking out like a sore thumb. Not his points. Where is it at? His assists and RA. His RA is all the way up to 9.5, which is crazy. I mean, it's crazy, but he's been cashing. If you can find an alternate line for Nembhard's RA at like 7.5, I would fire that away. And then from the Chicago side, I think maybe Vus. My model loves Vus. I don't really understand why the market has him juiced under a lot, but he has been a wagon. Okay, you can't deny that. He's been a wagon. His points, rebounds at 30.5, his RA, any of that, or just his points outright. This right here, this would be my favorite for Vus, the Gabi. I'm sorry. The Gabi just has wagon written all over it. He should hit. If he can't, we'll ban him for a couple days. No harm, no foul. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding, guys. We don't ban people around here. We ban franchises, folks, like the Pistons. Now, long video today. My goodness, I've been talking for a hot minute. But we got to go through the process, guys. You got to go through it. And then if you think this is long, wait for my live stream because I'm on there for like a minimum 2 hours most of the time. Okay. Now, real quick, we're going to check out UnderDog and see if there's any value there. And look at this. Cade Cunningham, less than 50 fantasy scored, 60% to hit. I mean, these are crazy, crazy things. But that's why I tell you guys, the fantasy score ones always have to be taken with a grain of salt because they're extremely hard to be predicted because those other sites don't really give you fantasy scores. But I do think there are value sometimes if there's multiple things. Look at this. Evan Mobley, 19.5 points assists. So that's something you would want to take on UnderDog. 19.5 points assists. Check the projections. 18 points, 2 assists. Yeah, it checks out. So Mobley at 19.5, I would only take it on UnderDog. You see on PrizePicks, it's 20.5. So why would we take it on PrizePicks? Shop around, take it on UnderDog at 19.5. And then the same thing with, where is it? Porter Jr. I think this is our UnderDog 2-man for today. Yeah, Porter's 18.5 on PrizePicks. No, thank you. I'll take him on UnderDog at 17.5, lock in my 2-man, and get some value. But my model has Porter Jr. soaring under at 16. However, Jokic could sit. So I think this is a fine 2-man. You're getting a point of value on both sides. You could middle it and take under on PrizePicks. I don't show UnderDog enough love, but they are important, and you can get a full deposit match and a free square if you use code CRUSH, and I give you 30 days of my Discord. That goes for UnderDog, Parlay Play, Chalkboard, and Sleeper. The code is CRUSH. Even DraftKings Pick 6, it's all there. Better, if you use Better, code CRUSH, you'll get 30 days of the cord. Any of them, guys. You just have to send me the link. You just have to email me, and Captain Crush will hook you up. So this is the 2-man. Remember, use code CRUSH. Get in there. They got tons of promos. And then also on DG Fantasy, it's code CRUSH. You get 25% off. You can't beat it with a stick. And then lastly, the Discord, the Dub Club. It's run through it all. CaptainCrush.net, the gold package, $24.99. You get all the tools. You get Captain Crush on a live stream. You get my community community chat. My plays, you get everything. Here is a snidbit of what's going on right now. He's talking about, do you think Dame could get points? Some people are talking about the fire. Greg's talking about Dame getting 12. Ash is telling people to be safe. I mean, we got a low-key family here. I love everyone for the most part. Some of you are poverty, but that's any community/family. Am I right? Am I right, chat? But I've heard from a ton of people about their Discords being poverty. Mine is not. We are very active, so I hope to see you guys in there. We don't win every day. We don't lose every day, but we have a good time. Folks, appreciate you tuning in. Early video for you. Longy, but a goodie. Here's the salute. Good luck in all your contests. And as always, my brothers and sisters in Christ, let's crush.